Right view. Right view is the first of the 8 path factors in the Noble Eightfold Path, and belongs to the wisdom division of the path. The definition. And what is right view? Knowledge with regard to stress, knowledge with regard to the origination of stress, knowledge with regard to the cessation of stress, knowledge with regard to the way of practice leading to the cessation of stress. This is called right view. DN 22. Its relation to the other factors of the path. And how is right view the forerunner? One discerns wrong view as wrong view, and right view as right view. This is one's right view. And what is wrong view? There is nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed. There is no fruit or result of good or bad actions. There is no this world, no next world, no mother, no father, no spontaneously reborn beings, no Brahmins or contemplatives who, faring rightly and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. This is wrong view. One tries to abandon wrong view and to enter into right view. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon wrong view and to enter and remain in right view. This is one's right mindfulness. Thus these 3 qualities, right view, right effort, and right mindfulness, run and circle around right view. MN 117. The consequences of wrong view. In a person of wrong view, wrong resolve comes into being. In a person of wrong resolve, wrong speech. In a person of wrong speech, wrong action. In a person of wrong action, wrong livelihood. In a person of wrong livelihood, wrong effort. In a person of wrong effort, wrong mindfulness. In a person of wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration. In a person of wrong concentration, wrong knowledge. In a person of wrong knowledge, wrong release. This is how from wrongness comes failure, not success. AN 10.103. And of right view. When a person has right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right knowledge, and right release, whatever bodily deeds he undertakes in line with that view, whatever verbal deeds, whatever mental deeds he undertakes in line with that view, whatever intentions, whatever vows, whatever determinations, whatever fabrications, all lead to what is agreeable, pleasing, charming, profitable, and easeful. Why is that? Because the view is auspicious. Just as when a sugar cane seed, a rice grain, or a grape seed is placed in moist soil, whatever nutriment it takes from the soil and the water, all conduces to its sweetness, tastiness, and unalloyed delectability. Why is that? Because the seed is auspicious. In the same way, when a person has right view, right release, whatever bodily deeds he undertakes in line with that view, whatever verbal deeds, whatever mental deeds he undertakes in line with that view, whatever intentions, whatever vows, whatever determinations, whatever fabrications, all lead to what is agreeable, pleasing, charming, profitable, and easeful. Why is that? Because the view is auspicious. AN 10.104. A thicket of wrong views. There is the case where an uninstructed, run-of-the-mill person does not discern what ideas are fit for attention, or what ideas are unfit for attention. This being so, he does not attend to ideas fit for attention, and attends instead to ideas unfit for attention. This is how he attends inappropriately. Was I in the past? Was I not in the past? What was I in the past? How was I in the past? Having been what was I in the past? Shall I be in the future? Shall I not be in the future? What shall I be in the future? How shall I be in the future? Having been what shall I be in the future? Or else he is inwardly perplexed about the immediate present. Am I? Am I not? What am I? How am I? Where has this being come from? Where is it bound? As he attends inappropriately in this way, one of 6 kinds of view arises in him. The view I have a self arises in him as true and established, or the view I have no self. Or the view it is precisely by means of self that I perceive self. Or the view it is precisely by means of self that I perceive not self. Or the view it is precisely by means of not self that I perceive self arises in him as true and established, or else he has a view like this very self of mine, the knower that is sensitive here and there to the ripening of good and bad actions, is the self of mine that is constant, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change, and will endure as long as eternity. This is called a thicket of views, a wilderness of views, a contortion of views, a writhing of views, a fetter of views. Bound by a fetter of views, the uninstructed run-of-the-mill person is not freed from birth, aging, and death, from sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair. He is not freed, I tell you, from suffering and stress. The well-instructed disciple of the noble ones discerns what ideas are fit for attention, and what ideas are unfit for attention. This being so, he does not attend to ideas unfit for attention, and attends, instead, to ideas fit for attention. He attends appropriately. This is stress. This is the origination of stress. This is the cessation of stress. This is the way leading to the cessation of stress. As he attends appropriately in this way, three fetters are abandoned in him: identity view, doubt, and grasping at precepts and practices. Mn 2. When one's knowledge is truly one's own. Kakayana. Lord, right view, it is said. To what extent is there right view? The Buddha. By and large, Kakayana, this world is supported by, takes as its object, a polarity, that of existence and non-existence. But when one sees the origination of the world as it actually is with right discernment, non-existence with reference to the world does not occur to one. When one sees the cessation of the world as it actually is with right discernment, existence with reference to the world does not occur to one. By and large, Kakayana, this world is in bondage to attachments, clingings, sustenances, and biases. But one such as this does not get involved with or cling to these attachments, clingings, fixations of awareness, biases, or obsessions, nor is he resolved on myself. He has no uncertainty or doubt that, when there is arising, only stress is arising, and that when there is passing away, only stress is passing away. In this, one's knowledge is independent of others. It is to this extent, Kakayana, that there is right view. SN 12.15. Abandoning the unskillful, cultivating the skillful. Don't go by reports, by legends, by traditions, by scripture, by logical conjecture, by inference, by analogies, by agreement through pondering views, by probability, or by the thought, this contemplative is our teacher. When you know for yourselves that, these qualities are unskillful, these qualities are blameworthy, these qualities are criticized by the wise, these qualities, when adopted and carried out, lead to harm and to suffering, then you should abandon them. When you know for yourselves that, these qualities are skillful, these qualities are blameless, these qualities are praised by the wise, these qualities, when adopted and carried out, lead to welfare and to happiness, then you should enter and remain in them. AN 3.65. Intentional action. The definition. Intention, I tell you, is karma. Intending, one does karma by way of body, speech, and intellect. AN 6.63. Taking responsibility for one's actions. I am the owner of my actions, heir to my actions, born of my actions, related through my actions, and have my actions as my arbitrator. Whatever I do, for good or for evil, to that will I fall heir. This is a fact that one should reflect on often, whether one is a woman or a man, lay or ordained. Now, based on what line of reasoning should one often reflect? That I am the owner of my actions, heir to my actions, born of my actions, related through my actions, and have my actions as my arbitrator. Whatever I do, for good or for evil, to that will I fall heir? There are beings who conduct themselves in a bad way in body, in speech, and in mind. But when they often reflect on that fact, that bad conduct in body, speech, and mind will either be entirely abandoned or grow weaker. A disciple of the noble ones considers this, I am not the only one who is owner of my actions, heir to my actions, born of my actions, related through my actions, and have my actions as my arbitrator, who, whatever I do, for good or for evil, to that will I fall heir. To the extent that there are beings, past and future, passing away and re-arising, all beings are the owner of their actions, heir to their actions, born of their actions, related through their actions, and live dependent on their actions. Whatever they do, for good or for evil, to that will they fall heir. When she often reflects on this, the factors of the path take birth. She sticks with that path, develops it, cultivates it. As she sticks with that path, develops it and cultivates it, the fetters are abandoned, the obsessions destroyed. AN 5.57. Karma should be known and understood. Karma should be known. The cause by which karma comes into play should be known. The diversity in karma should be known. The result of karma should be known. The cessation of karma should be known. The path of practice for the cessation of karma should be known. Thus it has been said. In reference to what was it said? Intention, I tell you, is karma. Intending, one does karma by way of body, speech, and intellect. And what is the cause by which karma comes into play? Contact is the cause by which karma comes into play. And what is the diversity in karma? There is karma to be experienced in hell, karma to be experienced in the realm of common animals, karma to be experienced in the realm of the hungry shades, karma to be experienced in the human world, karma to be experienced in the world of the devas. This is called the diversity in karma. And what is the result of karma? The result of karma is of three sorts, I tell you, that which arises right here and now, that which arises later, in this lifetime, and that which arises following that. This is called the result of karma. And what is the cessation of karma? From the cessation of contact is the cessation of karma, and just this noble eightfold path, right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, is the path of practice leading to the cessation of karma. Now when a disciple of the Noble Ones discerns karma in this way, the cause by which karma comes into play in this way, the diversity of karma in this way, the result of karma in this way, the cessation of karma in this way, and the path of practice leading to the cessation of karma in this way, then he discerns this penetrative holy life as the cessation of karma. Karma should be known. The cause by which karma comes into play. The diversity in karma. The result of karma. The cessation of karma. The path of practice for the cessation of karma should be known. Thus it has been said, and in reference to this was it said. AN 6.63. Reflecting on one's actions, the Buddha teaches his young son. The Buddha. What do you think, Rahula, what is a mirror for? Rahula. For reflection, sir. The Buddha, in the same way, Rahula, bodily acts, verbal acts, and mental acts are to be done with repeated reflection. Whenever you want to perform a bodily act, you should reflect on it. This bodily act I want to perform, would it lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Is it an unskillful bodily act, with painful consequences, painful results? If, on reflection, you know that it would lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both, it would be an unskillful bodily act with painful consequences, painful results, then any bodily act of that sort is absolutely unfit for you to do. But if on reflection you know that it would not cause affliction, it would be a skillful bodily action with happy consequences, happy results, then any bodily act of that sort is fit for you to do. While you are performing a bodily act, you should reflect on it. This bodily act I am doing, is it leading to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Is it an unskillful bodily act, with painful consequences, painful results? If, on reflection, you know that it is leading to self-affliction, to affliction of others, or both, you should give it up. But if on reflection you know that it is not, you may continue with it. Having performed a bodily act, you should reflect on it. If, on reflection, you know that it led to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both, it was an unskillful bodily act with painful consequences, painful results, then you should confess it, reveal it, lay it open to the teacher or to a knowledgeable companion in the holy life. Having confessed it, you should exercise restraint in the future. But if on reflection you know that it did not lead to affliction, it was a skillful bodily action with happy consequences, happy results, then you should stay mentally refreshed and joyful, training day and night in skillful mental qualities. Similarly for verbal and mental acts. Rahula, all the Brahmins and contemplatives in the course of the past who purified their bodily acts, verbal acts, and mental acts, did it through repeated reflection on their bodily acts, verbal acts, and mental acts in just this way. All the Brahmins and contemplatives in the course of the future. All the Brahmins and contemplatives at present who purify their bodily acts, verbal acts, and mental acts, do it through repeated reflection on their bodily acts, verbal acts, and mental acts in just this way. Therefore, Rahula, you should train yourself. I will purify my bodily acts through repeated reflection. I will purify my verbal acts through repeated reflection. I will purify my mental acts through repeated reflection. Thus you should train yourself. MN 61. 5 pleasant things to be gained by acting skillfully. These 5 things are welcome, agreeable, pleasant, and hard to obtain in the world. Which 5? Long life, beauty, pleasure, status, rebirth in heaven. Now, I tell you, these 5 things are not to be obtained by reason of prayers or wishes. If they were to be obtained by reason of prayers or wishes, who here would lack them? It's not fitting for the disciple of the noble ones who desires long life to pray for it or to delight in doing so. Instead, the disciple of the noble ones who desires long life should follow the path of practice leading to long life. In so doing, he will attain long life, either human or divine. Similarly with beauty, pleasure, status, and rebirth in heaven. AN 5.43. The most noble Kama of all, the ending of Kama. Monks, these 4 types of Kama have been directly realized, verified, and made known by me. Which 4? There is Kama that is dark with dark result. There is Kama that is bright with bright result. There is Kama that is dark and bright with dark and bright result. There is Kama that is neither dark nor bright with neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of Kama. And what is Kama that is dark with dark result? There is the case where a certain person fabricates an injurious bodily fabrication, fabricates an injurious verbal fabrication, fabricates an injurious mental fabrication. Having fabricated an injurious bodily fabrication, having fabricated an injurious verbal fabrication, having fabricated an injurious mental fabrication, he realizes in an injurious world. On realizing in an injurious world, he is there touched by injurious contacts. Touched by injurious contacts, he experiences feelings that are exclusively painful, like those of the beings in hell. This is called Kama that is dark with dark result. And what is Kama that is bright with bright result? There is the case where a certain person fabricates a non-injurious bodily fabrication, a non-injurious verbal fabrication, a non-injurious mental fabrication. He realizes in a non-injurious world. There he is touched by non-injurious contacts. He experiences feelings that are exclusively pleasant, like those of the ever-radiant devas. This is called Kama that is bright with bright result. And what is Kama that is dark and bright with dark and bright result? There is the case where a certain person fabricates a bodily fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious. A verbal fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious. A mental fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious. He realizes in an injurious and non-injurious world. There he is touched by injurious and non-injurious contacts. He experiences injurious and non-injurious feelings, pleasure mingled with pain, like those of human beings, some devas, and some beings in the lower realms. This is called Kama that is dark and bright with dark and bright result. And what is Kama that is neither dark nor bright with neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of Kama? Right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This is called karma, that is neither dark nor bright, with neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of karma. And 4.235. Admirable friendship. The definition. And what is meant by admirable friendship? There is the case where a lay person, in whatever town or village he may dwell, spends time with householders or householders' sons, young or old, who are advanced in virtue. He talks with them, engages them in discussions. He emulates consummate conviction, in the principle of karma, in those who are consummate in conviction, consummate virtue in those who are consummate in virtue, consummate generosity in those who are consummate in generosity, and consummate discernment in those who are consummate in discernment. This is called admirable friendship. AN 8.54. A cause for the development of skillful qualities. With regard to external factors, I don't envision any other single factor like friendship with admirable people as doing so much for a monk in training, who has not attained the heart's goal but remains intent on the unsurpassed safety from bondage. A monk who is a friend with admirable people abandons what is unskillful and develops what is skillful. ITI 17. Choose your companions with care. These are the 4 drains on one's store of wealth: being debauched in sex, being debauched in drink, being debauched in gambling, and having evil people as friends, associates, and companions. Just as if there were a great reservoir with 4 inlets and 4 drains, and a man were to close the inlets and open the drains, and the sky were not to pour down proper showers, the depletion of that great reservoir could be expected, not its increase. In the same way, these are the 4 drains on one's store of wealth: being debauched in sex, being debauched in drink, being debauched in gambling, and having evil people as friends, associates, and companions. AN 8.54. These 4, young householder, should be understood as foes in the guise of friends: he who appropriates a friend's possessions, he who renders lip service, he who flatters, he who brings ruin. The friend who appropriates. The friend who renders lip service. The friend that flatters. The friend who brings ruin. These 4 as enemies the wise behold. Avoid them from afar as paths of peril. These 4, young householder, should be understood as warm-hearted friends: he who is a helpmate, he who is the same in happiness and sorrow, he who gives good counsel, he who sympathizes. The friend who is a helpmate. The friend in happiness and woe. The friend who gives good counsel. The friend who sympathizes too. These 4 as friends the wise behold. And cherish them devotedly. As does a mother her own child. DN 31. A prerequisite for awakening. If wanderers who are members of other sects should ask you, what, friend, are the prerequisites for the development of the wings to self-awakening, you should answer, there is the case where a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues. This is the first prerequisite for the development of the wings to self-awakening. AN 9.1. The whole of the holy life. As he was sitting there, venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, "This is half of the holy life, Lord: admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie." Don't say that, Ananda. Don't say that. Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues, he can be expected to develop and pursue the noble eightfold path. And how does a monk who has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues develop and pursue the noble eightfold path? There is the case where a monk develops right view dependent on seclusion, dependent on dispassion, dependent on cessation, resulting in relinquishment. He develops right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration dependent on seclusion, dependent on dispassion, dependent on cessation, resulting in relinquishment. This is how a monk who has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues develops and pursues the noble eightfold path. And through this line of reasoning one may know how admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life, it is in dependence on me as an admirable friend that being subject to birth have gained release from birth, that being subject to aging have gained release from aging, that being subject to death have gained release from death, that being subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair have gained release from sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair. It is through this line of reasoning that one may know how having admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life. SN 45.2. The benefits of admirable friendship. Megillah, when a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues, it is to be expected that he will be virtuous, will dwell restrained in accordance with the Padimaka, consummate in his behavior and sphere of activity, and will train himself, having undertaken the training rules, seeing danger in the slightest faults. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues, it is to be expected that he will get to hear at will, easily and without difficulty, talk that is truly sobering and conducive to the opening of awareness, i.e., talk on modesty, on contentment, on seclusion, on non-entanglement, on arousing persistence, on virtue, on concentration, on discernment, on release, and on the knowledge and vision of release. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues, it is to be expected that he will keep his persistence aroused for abandoning unskillful qualities, and for taking on skillful qualities, steadfast, solid in his effort, not shirking his duties with regard to skillful qualities. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and colleagues, it is to be expected that he will be discerning, endowed with discernment of arising and passing away, noble, penetrating, leading to the right ending of stress. UD 4.1. Qualities of a Dhamma teacher. It's not easy to teach the Dhamma to others, Ananda. The Dhamma should be taught to others only when 5 qualities are established within the person teaching. Which 5? 1. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought, I will speak step by step. 2. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought, I will speak explaining the sequence, of cause and effect. 3. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought, I will speak out of compassion. 4. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought, I will speak not for the purpose of material reward. 5. The Dhamma should be taught with the thought, I will speak without disparaging myself or others. It's not easy to teach the Dhamma to others, Ananda. The Dhamma should be taught to others only when these 5 qualities are established within the person teaching. AN 5.159. Keeping company with the wise. It's good to see noble ones. Happy their company, always. Through not seeing fools. Constantly, constantly. One would be happy. For, living with a fool, one grieves a long time. Painful is communion with fools. As with an enemy. Always. Happy is communion with the enlightened. As with a gathering of kin. So, the enlightened man. Discerning, learned. Enduring, dutiful, noble. Intelligent, a man of integrity. Follow him. One of this sort. As the moon, the path of the zodiac stars. DHP 206. Never with an evil companion. I'm blind. My eyes are destroyed. I've stumbled on a wilderness track. Even if I must crawl, I'll go on. But not with an evil companion. Fag 95.